Hi, this is Marissa with For the Love of Quilts, and usually I have my M's back here, but today I'm starting with the background as the finished product. So this is what we're going to do in this video today. This is a t-shirt quilt, yes, but it's a baby quilt. I loved the concept when my client brought me the t-shirts. There's 12 shirts. You can't really see it in all of it in the video. I'll put a picture of the whole thing at the end. But this fella brought me the t-shirts. These are his wife's t-shirts from when she graduated college. You can guess where she went. And they're getting ready to have a baby in a few months. And what they wanted, or what she wanted as her baby's quilt, was a t-shirt quilt made out of these. So t-shirt quilt, baby quilt. I love the idea. I'd never really thought about that or heard about that. And so I asked him, I said, do you mind if I video the process? Because I'd love to post this, because I think that a lot of other people would like this idea too. I love how mom's tying her whole life into the birth of her newborn, because we know once that newborn is born, as a mom, your whole life's tied up, and it's a wonderful thing. So this is what we're going to be making, and thank you for joining me. Let's get started. I've already cut the shirts. So what I did was I just cut the backs off the shirts so that I just have the part that I'm going to use. But I also preserved some of the other pieces, like, let's see, this was on a sleeve, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to applique it on the front. Probably put it somewhere like here, or just wherever I have space for it. And the other thing that I'm going to do is, on this one especially, it had this on the back, which I really love. I think that will make this cool. So I'm going to cut this strip and stabilize it on the back. And then I'm going to do this separate because it's small. And then I'm going to sew the strip on the top. And I'm going to sew the little emblem on one side and the first one that was on the sleeve on this side. So I've done some of those things. And to keep it in my head straight, when I have that plan, as I get started, I pin those together. So as I'm going through, I'm going to know that. So like here's another one that I'm going to piece the front and the back together. So I have pinned those together. Here's one that I am just going to take the little emblem that was on the front, and I'm going to applique it here on the center of this. So I've pinned those two together, and some of them stand alone, and these are pretty standard on the rest of them. Okay, what I did also, this is going to be a baby quilt. I've said that in the introduction, but this is going to be a baby quilt. So the cobblestones, the little squares that go in the corners, I'm going to use some of this purple to kind of give that a little extra splash of color. I'm going to use muslin as the sashing because these shirts are kind of dark and I don't want it to be completely dark, but I do want to add this. So I'm going to iron stabilizer on the back of these two shirts and cut these out into squares. All right, so on this block, what I'm going to do is this came off the back, this came off the back, and this came off of the sleeve. So I'm going to incorporate this all into one. So I've sewn these two together, and I've cut it with my template. I'll take it over here and show you. I've used my template, and I've cut it to be 15.5 by 15.5 using this t-shirt transformation. This is amazing. You can tell it's well worn, well loved. Okay, so I'm going to take, I've loaded purple thread up top. I still have my bobbin as off-white because it doesn't really matter, the bobbin color. So I'm going to sew around, just sew around the edge of that, and sew around the edge of that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is line up that. Make sure my edges are folded under. Okay, So I put my pressure foot down and I'm ready to go. And on mine, I have to hold the top thread because it jerks it back up into the machine. Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit to secure that. Now, as I go, I'm gonna take the pins out so I have a prettier seam and I don't have any gaps. I get to the edge, I'm gonna go to the very edge, then I'm gonna flip it around, turn the corner. I'm gonna go ahead and take that pin out so I can get it good and flat. Okay. And turn. That's in the way of the camera. All right, so now I'm gonna go around the top. And you can see this piece right here is not tucked under, so I'm gonna just tuck it. Let me take that out. And take my finger and that, and then to the edge. Okay, and one more twist. I'm gonna finish it with a back stitch. Okay, so now let me pull this out and clip it. Top and bottom. Pull the strings off, and then you can see that that's what it looks like. Now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to leave this. This is going to be in my seam when I sew everything together, so I'm not really worried about this edge. I'm going to start here. So let me flip my work around so that I can come straight down. I'll take out this pin, get where it, line it up where it needs to be, get that thread out of the way, pressure foot down, and I'm gonna hold on to my thread so it doesn't suck back up into the machine on me. Okay, all right, so this is gonna bunch up a little bit, so I'm gonna take that out so I can make sure that I have it out of the way of the T. Okay, that looks good. Let me up and down, just get that little bit of play out of it. Okay, and corner. So let me flip it around. That pressure foot back down. And go up this side. One more stitch. Okay. Now flip it. And now I'm going to take this pin so I can make sure it's laying flat. And then I'm just going to sew on off. So now I have that. And I can square that up again, or not. I can just cut it off with my scissors because this is going to be hidden in the sashing. Okay, now on this one, I have cut this off of the front. This is the back of the shirt. And I have pressed a little bit around the edge, about 1/4 inch. And I'm going to turn that under. And then I'm going to do the same thing and just sew all the way around. Okay, so I started over here and I just tucked it under and I'm sewing around. And actually, I forgot to start the video. And I am not taking that out. So I have turned 2 corners. And I'm just going to go, well, I better give myself a little space to flip this one under before I get too close to it. Actually, I'm going to have to back it up a little. Okay. Flip it under and just hold it with my fingers. All right, where was I? Okay. And get to the corner, make the turn. I'm gonna give myself more space down here. All right, so get that turn. Down. All right, last corner. So I'm going to cut the end, at the beginning, and then flip it over and cut the back. And there's that block. Okay, so now all the blocks are done and we're ready to start with the sashing. So here's my 12 blocks, and here's my muslin, and it's cut into 3-inch strips this way and 15.5 this way, because my blocks are 15.5 by 15.5. All right, so let's get started. First block, I like to sew them on the tops first, and I mentioned this in my full t-shirt video, but the reason I do that is to kind of keep myself in check, because I know if there's something sewed on the top, then that's the top of the block. My biggest fear is getting one done, quilted and everything, and hold it up and have a block upside down. So this is one of my safeguards to keep from doing that. So I'm gonna line that up. And actually, I forgot to change my thread. I'm gonna go ahead and just sew it with purple. Doesn't matter. So I usually try to sew it with off-white, but it is not gonna show, so I'm gonna just roll with it. Okay, I want to show you something on this one. This shirt actually had a V-neck, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around. What I did was I cut a piece of fabric off of the tail of the shirt. You could use the sleeve, whatever, and then I just laid it underneath the V, making sure that there's no puckering, and then I just ironed the stabilizer over it so that it holds it together. And then I just take my sewing machine, and sometimes I have to guide this with a pin because this is stretchy. So I just kind of ease it so that it doesn't pucker up. But you don't, and sometimes I do it by hand, but you don't have to. If you just go slow, you can get your machine to do a good job on it. Let me get my video. It's hard to see this purple on purple. So hard, in fact, that, look, can you see that? My thread got sucked back up into the machine. So I'm going to stop this video and rethread my machine. Okay, so let's try this again with, look, thread. Oh my goodness. Sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself. Okay, so let me get this laid back down here. And I'm gonna hold on to my thread so it doesn't unthread. Okay. I am gonna get that pin back out because I do like to guide it so it doesn't pucker. And on something like this, you just have to go slow, and that's okay. Sometimes in life you need to slow down. Okay, let me make the turn. This back down. Just keep going. Just keep easing it. Okay. And cut it, and now I have one more. This is the last one. I have to put the band on. I mean the sashing on. Okay. There. Hold this thread. Okay. And here we go. This, you do not have to go slow. Thank goodness, because I like to go fast. Okay. I think my tension is not right because it pulled out again. I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to make you watch me finish this, but I'm just going to sew right on down here after I throw my machine again. So now I just lay the pieces out on a bed in an order that I feel like they make sense, and then I move things around. I try to balance it out, like I got the two purples and then two blacks, two purples, two blacks, and then I have some singles. I have one yellow, one white, and one gray, and I put those in the middle. Sometimes I'll do like, I don't know, it may look better if I balance it out with the white and the yellow. I think I'm going to try that and then see what looks. I think I like that better. It gives it a little more balance. So now what I do is I'm going to have to sew each of these together, and then I'm going to sew one piece of sashing on the bottom, and then I'm going to sew these strips, and I'm going to put the cobblestone, and I'm going to use the purple off of one or two of the t-shirts to cut squares to go there. And then I'll put it all together. So what I'm going to do in this process, I'm going to hang it up on my design board so that you can see as I go how it's going to look. So now I have each of the strips sewed together. Now I'm going to cut the squares and sew them to the pieces of muslin. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those strips. I'm using these two shirt backs. So I've ironed the stabilizer on the back, and I'm getting ready just to cut 3-inch strips, and then I'll make the then cut the squares. Okay, so I need 20 3-inch squares, so I'm going to cut 10 out of each. So I'm going to start here and just give myself a straight line to work with. And now I'm just going to measure on my ruler and cut 3-inch squares. I mean strips, 3-inch strips. Then I'll cut 3-inch squares. think 3 strips should be enough to get 20. I hate when I do that. Okay. All right, so now let me line these up. And it looks like, yeah, I should be able to get enough. I'm gonna just try to cut them all at one time. Okay, so let me get a straight edge here. Great. Now I'm gonna flip it because I like working from that angle. So this is gonna give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will get it lined up, press it down, 6. And then I will press it down, 12. And then I will have 18. And then I don't want to cut all that if I don't have to. So I only need 20. So I'll take that down to 2 thickness. And there's my 20. Okay. All right, now I'm going to sew these to the strips. So I've got the strips of blocks, I've got the strips of sashing and cobblestones, and I'm ready to start sewing them together. Now, I love to count seams if you watched any of my other videos. At this point, I'm like, I'm almost done. How many more seams do I have to make? Well, I have to make 1 seam, 2 seams, 3 seams, 4 seams, 5 seams, 6 seams. Yes! All right, let's get started. The baby blanket is done, and I love how it turned out. Well, it's not done. The top is pieced. Now I've got to put the batting and the muslin backing and the binding, the 3Bs, and quilt it before I bind it, and it'll be done. So I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me, and I will show a picture of the finished product at the end. Thanks. Okay, here's the finished product. it turned out really cute. Thanks for watching.